All right, no money, no problem. Fixing and flipping houses with no money is totally doable. You're obviously watching this video, so you must believe it. In this episode, I want to show you how to mindset shift to believe it's possible and then make it happen. In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about how to flip a house with no money. All right, so I'm gonna give you multiple steps in this video of how to fix and flip houses with no money. It all starts with one, and there's multiple steps of getting there and getting money in your pocket to where you're eventually fixing and flipping houses with money. All right, first you have to find the house. It only takes one to put some money in your pocket. When I was in college, I needed money fast. I was also a real estate investor while I was in college, so I had purchased a rental property, and things weren't going so well with that rental property, nor with college. I was having to pay for a lot of classes out of pocket. So it started with me having to find a house, and I've always heard and I've watched these shows about how fix and flippers would make this piles of money, like $15,000, $30,000, $40,000. So I'd heard about wholesaling, so I wanted to get started with wholesaling because wholesaling is ultimately the backbone of finding any property at a discount, and you can fix it and flip it yourself, or you can sell it to a fix and flipper. So in this first one, I was going to sell to that fix and flipper because I didn't have the money to pay the crews or pay for the renovations or do any of that stuff. So it started with the notice of default list. What is a notice of default list? This is a list of people that are behind on their mortgage payments. They're not paying their mortgage payment. That's all that is. It could be called Liz pendants in some areas, or it could be called, pre-foreclosures in other areas, or some areas call it the notice of default. All right, so this link will give you a 7-day free trial to Propstream, and that's landsharkslist.com. Landsharkslist.com. You can get a 7-day free trial, and you can start pulling this notice of default list right in your own backyard. So how did I do this? I actually pulled a list of about 20 houses that were behind on their mortgage. They were not paying their mortgage. So who would be more motivated to sell me a house that I can buy, fix and flip, or sell it to a fix and flipper and make quick cash fast so I can pay for those classes for college and also get my rental fixed up that my tenant had just trashed and I had to evict them. So I actually had some things like really pressing on me. I had some motivation to make some money quick in real estate. So what I did, I got this list of 20 houses of people behind on their mortgages. I got it from Propstream. I just gave you that link, and I printed it out, and I drove to each and every single one of those houses, and I knocked on their doors. And if they didn't answer the door, I would leave a sticky note saying, "Hey, it's Brent. Hey, my name's Brent. I'd like to buy your house. Call me." And that's it. "Hey, it's Brent. I'd like to buy your house. Call me." And lo and behold, I actually got one call out of those 20 sticky notes. And I talked to several people. They were a little upset. They thought I was with the bank. I said, "Look, I'm not here with the bank. I'm actually looking to buy a house in this area." So I learned what to say after I started doing it. And guys, you want to get 3-inch thick skin like a rhinoceros? Start knocking on people's doors. You probably never noticed I've got rhinos in my background. I plant those in all my videos. These might be a little blurred out, but I always keep the rhinoceroses in front of me because they've got 3-inch thick skin. They take torpedoes on a daily basis. So as a real estate investor looking to buy, fix, and flip houses, especially when you don't have any money, you got to get that thick skin. So let's go. Let's keep going. So out of those 20 sticky notes, I talked about one guy calling me. One guy is all it took. It only took one house. This guy was just so overwhelmed. He said, "Brent, I've literally got a week left in this house. I don't know if you want to buy it. I don't know if you want to come look at it." And sure enough, I said, "Absolutely. I'll be there in about 45 minutes. And I headed straight over there. I got to this guy's house. He had a stack of mail that was almost knee high. And I remember it to this day because he had it in front of the air conditioner intake where fresh air should be going in, but there was mail all in front of it. So I don't even know how his air conditioner was working. This was in Palm Bay, Florida. So I talked to him. He's super overwhelmed. I said, "Hey, what do you owe on the house?" He owed about $150,000 on this house, and this house was worth almost $200,000. And I don't know where it came from, but I got the notion to just say, "Hey, would you take what you owe?" And he said, "Yes. I would rather just get rid of it. I don't want it to be on my credit. My credit's gonna be ruined for 7 years. I haven't done any repairs to the house in forever." He was just ready to be done. He said, "I'm gonna be on the street in like 7 days anyways." So we wrote the purchase agreement. I got it for $150,000, and I went home and put it on Craigslist right away, looking for fixer and flipper. I want to sell this house. I've got a purchase agreement for $150. I'll take $160 and it's yours. I had a buyer the next day that was willing to pay me $160,000 for this house. He was gonna buy my contract for 160. I had the house under contract for 150. I know this video is about how to buy, fix, and flip a house with no money, but I'm getting to the part where I eventually get money to be able to fix and flip houses. It started with this first one. I assigned this contract to this buyer. His name was Lou. I made a quick $10,000. And I actually ultimately didn't make $10,000 off of it because I ended up giving the seller some money. I gave him an envelope full of cash at the end. And I also ended up having to move this guy out of his entire house because we showed up on closing day and he hadn't moved anything out of this 4-bedroom, 3-bath house. So I hired like 8 people on Craigslist. And if you notice, I like Craigslist a lot. I hired like 8 people to help me move this guy to a storage unit that we paid for 1 year for him. So that kind of got dwindled down to about $4,500 net profit in my pocket. But guys, I had maybe 5 hours into this entire deal. So next, I'm gonna tell you about the next house I did where I ended up fixing and flipping that one myself. But I want you to comment below, did you ever find the rhinos? Like, I literally plant an Easter egg in all these videos, and this one is a rhino. So tell me if you found it. And also like this video. All right, so this next house, this is the one that I actually bought and fixed and flipped, but I didn't do too much fixing. So the next house was in Colorado Springs. I moved from Florida to Colorado Springs in a short time after that, and I had a little fund saved up, and I found a private lender that was willing to loan me all the money on my next house plus the repair costs because he saw what I had done on the first one. How did I find the private lender? How can you find private lenders? They're everywhere. You can do hard money. You can literally Google hard money lender and your city. That's how you can find people that will align with you if you don't have any money. If you have no money, this is the way to buy, fix, and flip a house with no money. I'm gonna give you a great resource right now. This company's Kogo Capital. They're friends of mine. I've linked up with them, and I'm gonna give you a link that you can go on and sign up, and they will lend you the money to buy that house, fix that house, and flip that house and make a ton of profit. So if you go to thelandsharkscapital.com, thelandsharkscapital.com, and it's also below in the description, that is how you get funding just like I did on this deal I'm about to tell you. So I purchased this house in Colorado Springs for $69,000. It's worth about $110 as it sits. So 69, let's just call it $70,000. A lender lends me all the money. They lend me the $70,000 plus about $10,000 to do like carpet, paint, and a little bit of tile. That doesn't get you far. $10,000 doesn't get you very far, but it's all I needed to do this house to take it from being worth about $110,000 to about $150,000. So let me give you the math on this how I bought, fixed, and flipped a house with no money. I used a hard money lender's money to purchase the house. They paid for all the closing costs, and they also gave me another $10,000 to paint it, to put some carpet in it, and do a little tile work. So I did this house. It took me about 35 days to do the entire thing, and luckily I had the crews ready to go, and it was just one guy. I say crew. He did the carpet, he did the tile, he did the paint for me, all under for $10,000. Technically he did it about for $9,400, so I got to keep about $600 of those dollars, and it helped me on that first payment to that hard money lender. But I put this house on the market. You want to hear what I put it on the market for? It was worth about $116 before I painted it. I put it on the market at $135, and it ended up selling for $140 because I had multiple offers. So let's do some math here. I bought it for $69. I put $10,000 into it, so now I have $79. Call it $80,000. So $140 minus 80. So what is that? That's 40, 50, 60. That's a $60,000 profit. I had about 79 into it. Call it 80. I sold it for $140. Now take away some realtor fees, I still had a crazy profit, and I did this with little to no money. I did that first deal where I made about $4,500 net profit, and then I came over and then I did another deal with no money out of my pocket. It was a hard money lender, and I just showed you exactly how you can do it too. Go to thelandsharkscapital.com, use the lending, go out there and find a deal. The reason why this guy was ready to give me a deal is because the house was ran down. He had some problems with the law, and this guy was totally motivated to sell his house. He was not one of those sellers that had a beautiful house that listed with the real estate agent. 99 out of 100 people are not going to want to sell you their house for a massive, crazy discount unless they're motivated. So guys, as you know, the real estate market is absolutely exploding. Start aligning yourself with lenders that are willing to lend you money on land deals or house deals, buy, fix, and flip deals. Head over to thelandsharkscapital.com. That's thelandsharkscapital.com. Get yourself some funding today, because you will not imagine the amount of confidence that you will have going to sellers and offering them a cash offer on their house when you know you got lending behind you.